Hello dear students. Today we can discuss about the solvency ratios. So already we studied about different ratios and its formulas. And today we can discuss about some of the solvency ratios. First we can discuss about debt equity ratio, how to calculate. So we can see the question here. From the following information, calculate debt to equity ratio. Okay, so debt to equity ratio we have to calculate. Some information given in the question: equity share capital 1 lakh, general reserve 45,000, surplus balance in statement of profit and loss 30,000, debenture 75,000, long term provision 25,000, outstanding expense 10,000. So we have to calculate debt equity ratio. We know the formula for calculating debt equity ratio. Formula is debt divided by equity. You know debt means here long term debt, not short term debt, only long term debt. Equity means shareholders fund. So long term debt, from the question you have to identify which are the long term debts as well as which are the shareholders fund. See in this question, equity share capital, general reserve, surplus balance in statement of profit and loss, these all are owners fund. Balance sheet format, all remember, these all items coming under shareholders fund. So its total will be the shareholders fund. So 1 lakh plus 45,000 plus 30,000. It is shareholders fund. Then long term debt. Here debenture is a long term debt. Long term provision is also long term debt. Outstanding expense is not long term, it is short term debt. So don't take outstanding expense. Which are the two long term debts? Debtors and long term provision. That is 75,000 plus 25,000, that is 1 lakh. So now we can apply the equation. Long term debt is 75,000 plus 25,000, that is 1 lakh. Shareholders fund 1 lakh plus 45,000 plus 30,000, that is 1 lakh 75,000. So 1 lakh divided by 1 lakh 75,000, we will get 0.57. So the ratio is 0.57 is to 1. Okay. So this is a simple question. Now we can take another example. Calculate debt to equity ratio from the following information. Okay, we have to calculate debt to equity ratio. Information given: total assets is given 1,25,000, total debt is given 1 lakh, current liabilities is given 50,000. Total debt means in this include long term and short term debts. Current liability means short term debt. Okay. Now we have to calculate from this which equation? Debt to equity ratio. See, we know the equation debt to equity ratio is equal to debt by equity. That is long term debt divided by shareholders fund. So long term debt, in the question total debt is given, right? In the total debt what is also included? Short term debt also included. So from the total debt, when you minus current liability means short term debt. So from the total debts, when you minus short term debts, that is current liability, we will get a long term debts. Question: total debt is given 1 lakh, current liability or short term debt is given 50,000. So 1 lakh minus 50,000, you will get 50,000 as long term debt. Then second, we need shareholders fund. Shareholders fund in this question directly no information given, so we can apply this one. Total assets minus total debt. From the total asset, when you minus total debt, we will get a shareholders fund. In the question we know total asset is given 1,25,000. Total debt also given 1 lakh. So 1,25,000 minus 1 lakh is equal to 25,000 is the shareholders fund. So now we can come back to the equation. Debt to equity ratio is equal to long term debt. That is long term debt we got 50,000. divided by shareholders fund. Shareholders fund we got 25,000. So 50,000 divided by 25,000, we will get the answer 2:1. We know standard debt equity ratio is 2:1. So this is good for the organization. So another tip I will say, some questions when you calculate in debt equity ratio, we need a shareholders fund and long term debt. Sometimes they will not give in the question directly. So you should remember, we know liability side main heading in the balance sheet are shareholders fund, non-current liability and current liability. Non-current liability means long-term debt, current liability means short-term debt. Asset side we know two main headings, non-current asset and current assets. So any of the information given from this we can find out the missing item. Example, suppose non-current asset and current asset is given, then we can find out the total asset. We know the total asset will be equal to which one? Total liability. In the question, suppose total debt is given. Total debt means it's a total of non-current liability and current liability from the total assets. That means total asset is equal to total liability. From this, if you minus this two item, what you will get? A shareholders fund. Okay, sometimes shareholders fund will give, current liability will give. We have to find out which one. Non-current liability means a long-term debt. Then from these two, suppose total asset is given, from the total asset we can minus shareholders fund and current liability, you will get a long-term debt. So this format you keep in mind, main headings. So some of the missing item is there to calculate debt equity ratio, you can find out from this. Okay, so go through this properly so we can do the format very clearly.